What's going on, guys? Today we're gonna predict your future. Ooh. We're gonna predict the future of your adult day center and how you are gonna get to your goals. And we're gonna give you a very simple math equation to figure out what you need to do to hit your average daily census goals. Because at the end of the day, that's what really matters. What is your average daily census? Not your total census, but what your average daily census is. So that being said, guys, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, show a little love. You know, Dre's, he's behind the camera here looking fresh for all you single ladies. Dude, we got a comment the other day. Tanya from Abigail Adult Day Center, yeah, she was gonna hook you up with some single ladies. She said her daughter's off limits, but she's got, you know. Anyways, Tanya, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Anyways, guys, so my name is Chris Chan, I'm the founder and CEO of Active Age Daytime Senior Care, and we're gonna go over a few housekeeping items. If you haven't already, go to adcpro.com, sign up for our monthly webinar. You know, we got one-on-one coaching. You can also join our private Facebook group, and make sure if you are interested in opening your very own Active Age, go to activeagecare.com/franchise. Let's get right into it. So 3 numbers to pay attention to as we're talking through this. Average daily census. Most people, when they're thinking about the number of members that they need, it's the average daily census that they're talking about, but they may not take into consideration that you might need more than your average daily census in order to obtain that. You know, just because you have 50 people on your roster doesn't mean you're gonna have 50 people every day. So that's another metric to pay attention to. What is your total roster, your total number of members? And then last, and you know, but not least, conversion ratios, understanding what your conversion ratio is for leads, tours, and guest passes. So, you know, so getting into the average daily versus total members, how do you figure that out? Is your goal to have 25 people per day, 50, 75? You know, one of the best kind of factors to figure out the total members on your roster is gonna be needed is to times your average daily goal by 2.5 to come up with a general estimate for what your total roster should be. So in this case here, you'll see for a center that would like to, you know, their goal is to have 25 people per day, they should have 62 people on their roster to achieve 25 people per day. If you want 50 people per day, you should have 125 people on your roster to get 50 people per day. And if you want 75 people per day, you should probably have around 187 on your roster to achieve those goals. Now, all of the information on here is primarily like a private pay adult day center, because this is my experience. This is what we're, have the most experience in, is the private pay side of things. 90% of the people who attend our center are private pay. The rest of it is, Medicaid and maybe VA, but it doesn't make up the majority. So these are our figures. This might be very different if you're 100% Medicaid, or if you're a Medicaid focused center, or you rely on nonprofits, or you're a nonprofit and you rely on grants. So just keep in mind that when we go through this is a certain avatar, a certain type of center that focuses more on a social model, that focuses on private pay, but this could be very insightful whether you're thinking about, opening an adult day center, or you already have one and you're trying to figure out how to get back to the capacity that you need to be at in order to be profitable. This could be a great way for you to understand what you need to do. That being said, the conversion ratio. Every lead that calls, fills out the form online, stops by for, as a walk-in. So walk-ins, phone calls, and web forms, those are inquiries, those are leads. You have their contact information, right? 30% of those leads we're gonna convert into members. Now, when it comes to tours, people who have a scheduled time that they're coming in to meet with our membership concierge, 50% of those tours are gonna turn into members. And then we also offer a guest pass. So our guest pass, 80% of people who come in on a guest pass are gonna turn into a member. So these are just kind of important information to just be aware of when you think about the number of people converting into paying customers. What is your conversion ratio for leads, tours, and guest passes? Having an understanding of that is gonna make all of this, make so much more sense. So that being said, guys, if we are trying to figure out, okay, we have a goal of 25 people per day. How do we do that? How can we get to that goal, or how can we achieve that? How can we break that down into like a weekly bite-sized amount that we can kind of say, okay, we know if we do this, we can achieve this goal of 25 people per day. Well, we're gonna do a little math here for you. So if our goal is 25 people per day, we need to have how many people? How many total people on our roster? We need to have 62. Remember, my goal is 25 times 2.5 equals, I need a total of 62 people to hit my goal of 25. Now, what we're gonna learn is how many leads is that gonna take? How many tours are you gonna have to do? How many guest passes are you gonna have to invite people on and for them to attend as a guest, right? So if I got 62 as my total capacity, what I would do is divide by 0.3, okay? Because remember, my conversion ratio is 30%. So if I'm looking for the number of leads I'm gonna need to hit 25 people, I take 62, my total roster amount that is needed to hit 25, divided by 0.3, and that means I'm gonna need 206 leads to ensure that I get 62 members and 25 people on the average daily, right? So 206 leads. How many people is that per week? I know 206 leads sounds super intimidating, but if the goal was to get to 25 people per day by the end of the year and you gave yourself 52 weeks, that would mean that you would need 3 to 4 people coming or inquiring per week. Can you do that? Is that sustainable for your size, for the goals of your center? 3 to 4 new leads a week, that doesn't seem too bad. I'm gonna probably need, maybe 2 to 3 tours per week, right? So again, 62 total on the roster. I'm dividing by 0.5 because look, my conversion ratio is 50% for tours, right? So I take my total roster, divide by 0.5, that equals 124 tours. So I'm gonna need 124 tours in this 52-week period to hit the goal of 25 on the average daily, right? And here we go for guest passes. Again, 62 total members divided by 0.8, because look, our guest pass conversion ratio is 80%. That's gonna mean that I'm gonna need 78 guest passes, for us to actually get 62 members, which turns into 25 on the average daily census, right? So I'm hoping all that makes sense, right? I just wanted to provide a little clarity. Now, what's interesting is if you had an idea of what your average conversion ratio was for leads, tours, and guest passes, and you could say, okay, here's our baseline. We know we convert this many leads, this many tours, this many guest passes, then what you could do is start tracking it so you could see, if some of these conversion ratios were to go up or down. Say your lead conversion ratio is going up. Maybe you're attracting the right type of consumer. Maybe your guest pass ratio is going down. Instead of closing 80%, you're only closing 50%. You may need to look at your inside sales process. Is there something broken? Do you have the wrong person, doing the inside sales? So these are things that you could take into consideration if you knew what those conversion ratios were. These just happen to be ours. Yours might be different. Again, is it social model? Is it medical model? Is it focused? Are you guys more focused on Medicaid? Are you more focused on private pay? A lot of those factors will maybe alter or change the way this works. But that being said, if your goal on the average daily was to have 50 people per day, look, you're gonna need 417 leads to hit 125 total members, which should get you around 50 people on the average daily. So you're gonna need 417 leads, 250 tours, 100 guest passes. If you're opening a larger center and the average daily census is supposed to be 75, you're gonna need 187 total people on your roster, which means you're gonna need 623 leads in that year. Now, 623 leads sounds like a lot, but when you break it down into a monthly increment, it's only about 10 leads a week. If you're a large center, you're probably in a much greater density of the demographic. You're in a much denser area, so getting 10 leads a week shouldn't be that hard. I know we average between 6 and 12 leads a week now, and we're in a very small community compared to our new location in Sarasota. So these are just things to take into consideration, that yes, some of these numbers seem big. 206 leads, 417 leads, 623 leads. Those seem massive numbers. They almost seem a little intimidating, but when you break them down into weekly amounts, they're not as bad. So what could happen is you take these numbers, now okay, this is my goal. I need to get 3 to 4 leads a week, 6 to 8 leads a week, 10 leads a week. So what do you need to do from a marketing perspective? What do you need to do from an advertising perspective to generate that kind of activity? And so your goal would be putting a sales and marketing plan in place to drive those number of leads to your place. But what this would do is it would give you a very predictable, amount of, people you're going to need coming and inquiring in order to achieve your goals for your center. So if for whatever reason you're over here, you're a larger center and you're only getting 3 to 5 leads per week, you know that you're behind schedule. It's going to take you 2 years potentially to achieve that goal. So what can you do to increase the lead flow? What types of activities do you need to do? Have you hired a business development person? Is there someone out in the community doing marketing and sharing on your behalf? Are you spending enough money on Google Ads? Do you have any sort of print publications that would make sense for your area? There's so many things that you need to take into consideration, but if you are behind where you should be, you need to step it up. If you're averaging 15 leads a week, you're right on track, baby. You're gonna be a little ahead of schedule. In fact, maybe instead of hitting that goal in 12 months, you hit it in 9 months. So, these are just things to take into consideration. My hope is that when you think about your own adult day center and you're trying to figure out okay, my goal, I need 30 people a day. I need 50 people a day. I need how many people a day? That's great. It's good to have those goals. It's good to put that stuff into projections. But at the end of the day, what really matters is how many leads are you getting per week? How many tours are you, taking people on per week? And all of that is going to give you a very predictable formula for what to expect when it comes to new people enrolling in your adult day center. I know for us, we already know that when the time a lead comes in, from the time that they first inquire to the time that they become a member, it's just 4 to 6 weeks. It's a process. A lot of times there's paperwork involved. In most cases, people, they call, they inquire, they schedule a tour for the following week, they schedule a guest pass for the week after. Now we're already 2 to 3 weeks in. They might go on vacation. They might have to wait on the doctor to fill out a form. Before you know it, it took them 4 to 6 weeks to go from initial inquiry to an actual member. And again, this could change depending on the area you're in. But my point is that we know that we have a certain number of leads, tours, and guest passes we need each week. We also know it takes 4 to 6 weeks for those inquiries to turn into customers. And so all of that data is super important to predicting where you're gonna be, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now. It would really help you kind of have a very clear picture of what to expect over the coming months. So hopefully you find this helpful. Hopefully this will help you grow your adult day center. And if you haven't already, make sure you go to adcpro.com, check out all of our videos on our YouTube channel. If you're interested in starting your very own Active Age, go to activeagecare.com/franchise. And we will see you on the next one. Peace. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you'd like to learn how to open your own adult daycare center, go to adcpro.com. If you'd like the latest business tips, click here, and make sure you subscribe to our channel, click here. We'll see you guys next time.